Hi, Jeremiah here. In my line of work, a friend once asked me, "Hey, Jeremiah, how come you always look so positive after working over about 20 years in the cancer industry?" And jokingly, I told him, I said, look, just have a sense of humor. From time to time, laugh at yourself and give hope to people. And that was my advice to him. Anyway, just to tell you a little bit about myself, life is not always like this. I remember when I was a kid, maybe about 5 or 6 years old, my auntie was carrying me in her arms, and I was looking down at my grandma. I still remember very clearly, right in Chinatown. Imagine a 5-year-old boy looking down at her grandma because the grandma was dying. I couldn't understand why the relatives around me were crying. I couldn't understand why my mother was crying. And all I did was to look at amazement, astonishment, and wonderment. Why are all these big people crying? But you know, as I grew older, I began to understand about life and death. Life is a very big word. What would you say if I ask you, what is your life? How would you describe your life if I were to ask you this question? To me, life is living or life is lying. You either live a life or you live a lie. Because as I grew up, I saw a lot of turmoils in families, among friends, among colleagues. They have a lot of problems. And it seems that at one point, I was insulated from all this. I was a happy-lucky-going boy, full of curiosity, and I always loved to play football. So even as a child, I dreamed of being a Ronaldo, a Pele, a Beckham. And I always have a desire to form a football team, which I did. And even as a young lad, I realized there was something in me, something that I have. And now looking back from hindsight, I can see why. Because I just love to inspire and motivate people. From what I saw as a young boy, at the age of 5, I saw death, but I couldn't understand what it was all about. But when I am now a grown man, when I look at my passion life timeline, I realize that I am almost towards the other end. At 62, I realized that a majority part of my life has been so-called trapped in the traditional way of going to school, finish school, find a good job, look for a good wife, have children, make money, and then be comfortable the rest of your life. There comes a time in point where I have to search my own heart and ask myself, is that what life is all about? You know, if you were to look around you, whether it's on TV or the newspaper or the magazines or now with the World Wide Web, what do you see? What do you see about family? What do you see about marriage? What do you see about money? What do you see about friends? You will know whether you have a real friend or not when you lose all your money. So that's the reason why I said from the beginning, life can be living or life can be a lie. I think a lot of us are brought up to think that life is going to be beautiful, it's going to be rosy, everything is going to be fine. But as we grow older, we realize that life is not like that. We realize that there are a lot of struggle, a lot of turmoil, and then we have to find our focus so that there will come a time when there is a turning point where we have to decide that this is not the kind of life that I want to live. The kind of life that is a lie. I have been living that kind of lie many times, many years. And I want to get out of it, but I don't know how. I ask myself, if I were to define life, what is it going to be? Life is supposed to be living. Life is supposed to be inspiring. Life is supposed to be fulfilling. And life is supposed to be embracing. I said to myself, if I can truly live, if I can inspire people in my journey of life, if I can help people fulfill their dreams, their passions and their desire, and if I can help them embrace life as a whole, holistically, I feel that I have fulfilled my purpose here on earth. I really feel that money is not the solution to every problem. Although I don't disagree that money is very important in this life. But I think we should really take a look at the big picture. And the big picture to me is very simple. Family, home, health, and money. If we can sort out every compartment in our life and balance them out into these four areas of family, home, health, and life, I think we can get by reasonably well. I always have a motto in my life, and I used to tell my friends when they ask me, hey, if you were to summarize your life with one statement, what would you want to say to your friends or to your colleagues or to anybody who wants to ask you about your life? And I would say, I love to aspire, to inspire until I expire. And I have been blessed with opportunities time and time again over this 60 over years of my life, coming into contact with different people at different social level, and I can honestly say that I have really truly tried my best to be a blessing to others, to be an inspiration to people, because I always believe that collectively, if we give ourselves a little bit to other people, we can really make this world a better place. I remember very vividly this story. This man was dying of cancer. He actually had been living for 3 years. I would not say really living for 3 years, but he has been really struggling in and out of hospital for the last 3 years. And during the last stage of his life, when he was put into the ICU in the hospital, he asked his wife, he said, "Can you call Jeremiah? Because I want to see him." Now during that time, I was actually customizing drugs, cancer drugs, for him. And so, at this stage of his life, he looked for me. And I went to the hospital. I dropped everything. I went to the hospital and I was in the ICU. And I can still remember very clearly in my mind, there were tubes all over him. There were tubes in his nose, tubes in his mouth. He was trying to struggle with the oxygen mask. And when he saw me, he just reached out. He held my hand and he said my Chinese name, my Chinese surname. He said, "Chin, Chin, Chin. I don't want to die, Chin." I just looked at him, and just looking down at him, I know that he doesn't have long to live. I look over at his wife and his only daughter. At that time, the daughter was only about 10 years old. And I can see the agony in their hearts. Because here they are looking at husband and daddy trying to struggle, trying to get his last breath, trying to hold on to life. And even when I was looking down at him, I asked myself this question. This man has everything, but now he's lying on his deathbed, holding on to his last breath. If I were to ask him now, "Sir, what is life to you?" what would you think he would say? Would he say, like I said earlier on, life is for living, life is inspiring, life is fulfilling, life is embracing? Would he vouch and say from his heart that that is what life is all about? I don't think so. I don't think so. So depending on where you are today, whether you are rich or poor, young or old, one of the most important things that you must cherish is health and your family. Health and your family. Just imagine, if you have $1 million and that number one is health, and there are 6 zeros behind that one, which is health. If you take away that one, just take away that number one, what do you have left? 6 zeros. You lose your family, you lose your business, you lose your job. Whatever you think you can hold on in this life, you lose them all because you lose that number one. I am blessed because in the process of my work, I have lots of experiences. I have accumulated a lot of skills and expertise. And I'm blessed that I'm able to help others. And that is the reason why I make a turnaround. And I come to the point in my life, I said to myself, if I can touch somebody's life, if I can be a life mentor and touch somebody's life while I'm here on this earth, I think that will be the most fulfilling thing for me. And now, I am actually embarking on this journey to be a life mentor, to help anybody and everybody that walks into my life. I would like to be that person if I can help anybody in any way, because this is what I love to do. And I'm doing what I love. And that is the most beautiful part. Thank you.